Welcome to the second update of ClassMon 3. I'm just going to run through some of the changes and new features in this version. The first one is to do with the multiple observation. So if you're doing a multiple observation, you're selecting your children, clicking multiple observation, and doing your observation. You'll see we've now added planning notes to the observation panel. So you can now include planning notes in any of your multiple observations. The next one is to do with the actual planning report. If we generate a planner, we've now added the additional learning outcomes to show on the planner. Previously, we only listed the planning notes under each of the primary outcomes, but now you see all the outcomes and elements that you've selected. And while we're looking at reports, we'll just take a look at another changed report, and that is the data report for the contact list. You can see we've just simplified this contact list so that you see each of the guardians along with their contact information and the health and additional info. So that's all in the one report with no photo. Also, you'll notice now that when you produce any of the learning reports, for example, a learning record, you'll now be presented with the date range pop-up. Now you can just hit apply and it will produce a learning record for everything for the year. But if you wanted to refine that search for data, so you might only want to produce a report for a specific month, then you can now change those dates. So if we apply that, we get our report and it will show all the data from between those two dates. I'll now show you a new report that we've added. This is a request from a number of services who are after a mid-year report, but based on the learning outcome information. So what we're doing is pulling the learning outcome data, so that the information that you record in these fields here, identity, community, wellbeing. So if you've recorded information in there for semester 1 and semester 2, or whatever you want, then you can produce a new report, which we call the transition summary. And this is a very simple report which just has a cover page or a cover area with the child's photo, etc. and then just that information. So if you were to print that out, you'd get a single page view, which is a summary of the learning outcome information up to that point in time. As you know, there is a way of importing children's data into ClassMon. So under Manage Groups, you can import children from a compatible CSV file, and that compatible file is available for download from our website. But you'll now notice that we also have an export children button. So this allows you to take a group of children and export them to that same CSV file. So it's the reverse of importing. So that could be handy if you needed your student list in an Excel format. Then you can take them out of ClassMon and get that into that format very easily just using the export feature. As usual, I've saved the best feature till last, and this was a big one that we've been working on for many months, and it has been a request for some time from some services, so we imagine there'll be quite a bit of excitement over this one. It involves being able to export a child's record and then import it into another login. So now you can select a child. So say Adam, and you can see with Adam I've got lots of observations and photos, etc. I select that child and go to Manage Children. And in Manage Children we've got two new buttons here, an export and an import. So I can now export this child, this selected child, and you can only work with one child at a time. It packages that child's data up into a single file, and it auto names that file and auto dates that file. And we've called it a VST file. Now I'm going to save that file to my desktop, and now it's exporting all that data, all the observations, photos, etc. to a single file. And what that means is that I can now take that file and find the Adam file. You can see that file I can now take and put on a USB stick, then I can bring that to another computer, and then in ClassMon, come back to Manage Children and import that file. So click the import button and browse to the desktop, find the file, there it is there, and import that in, and that will bring that child into the new login. So great for example if you had to move a child from one room to another, or maybe from the 3-year-old group to the 4-year-old group. So we hope you enjoy update 2 of ClassMon 3. Please feel free to share this video with any of your colleagues, because we do find that when we send out these updates, we often get calls down the track asking for features or asking how to do certain tasks, only to find that those features are already included in ClassMon. So it really helps if you do share these videos, watch these videos. It's just a good way of keeping informed of what's going on with development of new features in ClassMon. And please keep the feedback coming. And if you haven't already, sign up for our Facebook page. We do post lots of little tips and tricks there, so it's worth keeping an eye on.